Good evening, everybody, and for some of you, good afternoon, and for even some of you who are overseas, good morning. First of all, let me thank you for joining in our webinar tonight and take some personal time to learn about what I think is the most innovative product I've ever seen in my 22-year career called Step Warmfloor. We're pleased with the number of people attending. We have people from all over the world, from South America over to Spain, Mexico to Canada, and of course the United States. So again, thank you for joining our webinar. And those people who are on the East Coast, so I had a special shout out to you guys. Hopefully your families are safe and you get your power restored quickly in your home. So want to move on and let you know that we have an upcoming webinar schedule. Yeah, obviously today we're going to go through the features and benefits of the Step Warmfloor product, but we want to remind you that we have these a series of webinars taking place every 2 weeks, and I'm going to keep this on the screen here a little bit so you can maybe jot them down. Some of you may have already signed up for these in advance, but also want to keep them available so in case you have a colleague or somebody else that you would like to inform them of this webinar, feel free to jot down that. But you'll have this information mailed to you as well or emailed to you. A couple of things. It's a 1-hour session. This product is very in-depth to go over, and it's too much information really to go over in 4 hours, what we typically do in a hands-on training with contractors. So we've broken it up into 4 sections, and each one of these sections are 1 hour long. We ask that you refrain from your questions. You can certainly ask them as we go, and our assistant here will jot those down and get those to me. And we're going to take the last 15 minutes of the webinar and focus on whatever questions you may have from what we've covered today. Keep in mind that we're going to cover the features and benefits and then move on to applications and designing Step Warmfloor with floor coverings and then installation in future webinars. So it's going to be a fun ride. We're excited about what we're going to show you. About us, Heat My Floors is a subsidiary of Wright Hennepin Electric Cooperative. We're located in Rockford, Minnesota. So for those of you who don't know exactly, if you Minnesota there, you just go to the west of the Twin Cities area, and we're typically, we're approximately about 30 miles from downtown Minneapolis area. We've been distributing electric radiant floor heating products here since 1996, and we distribute electric hydronic boilers, electric radiant floor heating cable, and also the Step Warmfloor heating system. Being that we're a power company, we strive to represent products that provide our customers energy efficiency and reliability. So it's important for us to keep that goal in mind for not only our customers, but we think we can pass that information on and these products on to people from all over the country. Your host, that's me. My name is Dennis Schrummel, and I am the product manager here at heatmyfloors.com. And I have been employed by Wright Hennepin Electric Cooperative Association for 22 years now, and it seems like only yesterday that I was employed here back in 1990, but it's been a fun ride, and I've been instrumental in training hundreds of electrical HVAC remodeling contractors and builders through all sorts of product lines, but I've never come across a product such as Step Warmfloor, and it's so unique that I'm so happy to share it with you here today. So we got to kind of get an idea what others are saying about the product, and hopefully this is going to work. And let's hear what people are saying in the industry. And I just want to kind of preface this saying that we were at a trade show and we got a little bit of TV time. And I'm sorry, I don't think that perhaps you can hear. Not sure if you can hear that. I'm sorry, but it sounds like we had a little technical difficulties. But it was nice we got on some TV time. But also, we've been shown on Bath Crashers TV show and DIY Sweat Equity show. It's a nice way to the product being featured there. That helps out the other distributors throughout the country as well as heatmyfloors.com. So check out these the DIY channel's webpage, and you'll be seeing our the Step Warmfloor product coming up shortly. So kind of give you an idea of what you're going to learn today or this evening. We're going to learn how Step Warmfloor is going to provide your customers with energy efficiency, reliability, simplicity, and safety. The energy efficiency is going to be shown in a few slides. I'll kind of take these one by one, but the energy efficiency of the product is proven to be 2.5 times more efficient than cable heating systems. So that's an investment that is going to return on your initial investment to pay back. It also pays back on reliability that the Step Warmfloor product has never overheated. It's very simple to put in. People don't feel intimidated by the low voltage power source that drives the heating element, and also of course it's safe with its low voltage power. So we want to help you as a contractor, help you increase revenue in your business. I think this product gives you just a great deal more applications than you're typically limited to in electric radiant floor cable systems. They limit you to typically tile applications, where Step Warmfloor gives you applications that are virtually endless under virtually any floor covering. So we're going to kind of focus around this and talk to you more detail of each. But first, we need to sell the customer. We need to sell the customer on comfort. And many people, if you look on the right-hand slide here, I got a graph that really gives the ideal curve of what the human body needs to perceive heat. We want it warmer up or down at our feet, and we want it cooler down or up at our head. I'm sorry. So we look at this, and you can see here's what Step Warmfloor really matches the ideal heating performance curve of the human body. It makes sense that we can create comfort by increasing heat in our feet where it's further from our blood supply. So we tend to be cooler at our feet, of course, and at our head we tend to be warmer. Then pay attention here to the forced air. See how it's out of phase with that of the ideal heating curve and as well as Step Warmfloor. And most of us, I would imagine, throughout the United States have experienced forced air heating. It's predominant in all of the country, and unfortunately, it has a means of carrying air conditioning, but it's an inefficient way of heating and definitely not comfortable. So what we want to do is teach people is that we want to condition people, not buildings. Dumping hot air into the building does everything for the building, but not for the people. Many people in commercial applications tend to be uncomfortable because they have a centralized furnace. And we all can understand it. For those in the northern part of the United States, we have a lot of basements, and the basements are notorious for being cold. So forced air systems simply cannot match the comfort of the radiant floor heating. So we want to control the heat loss from the body, and that's the key. We're a big radiator, so we want to control the way that heat loss. If we can counter that by radiant floor heating that gives off heat by 3 methods: convection, conduction, and radiant heating, we're going to be much more comfortable. And it's also going to create a nice accepted environment for the human body as well. So it's to provide a nice healthy heating aspect without blowing allergens around for those who have allergy problems. So those are the things that you maybe want to focus with selling comfort to your customers. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about, why would a homeowner choose radiant floor heating? And many of you probably have seen this slide once or time if you're connected in the industry. But I want to kind of show you how the inefficiency of forced air is in comparison to radiant heat. And you can see on the side of the curve there that the heat, forced air, is driving and hot air rises. Now, that's a misconception. I've argued with people over trade shows that they always think heat rises. Well, it actually, hot air rises. So you can see by that depiction there of forced air that all the warmer air is concentrated in the upper portions of this vaulted room, and by the time it settles and cools down, it's returned back to the furnace to recirculate. So we're just not comfortable throughout the room. When we look at the radiant heat system on the right, we can notice that heat always moves to cold, and radiant helps equalize that temperature throughout the heating space. So a homeowner is going to choose comfort based on these bullets. Basically, it increases comfort. When your feet are warmer, you tend to feel warmer all over. The heat distribution in a room is optimal when the temperature is higher or warmer at your feet than at your head level. Also, it's going to reduce energy costs. The energy cost is even stated by the Department of Energy that radiant floor heating can be anywhere from about 20 to 40% less cost to operate than a traditional forced air heating furnace. And also, it's going to improve indoor air quality. We touched on that briefly on the slides before, but we're going to reduce those allergens and find dramatic improvements on people who may be suffering from asthma. There's no question that radiant floor heating, in particular step Warmfloor, is safe and it's aesthetically pleasing. It gives you the decorating freedom to put furniture anywhere you want without having to worry of covering up heated vents or baseboard or radiator systems. And finally, it's easy to zone. These systems can easily be zoned to heat one portion of the house, but yet maybe keep a room that's not occupied as much at a cooler level. So it gives you all these features that forced air simply cannot match. So it's one of these reasons here that we find a great deal of people choose radiant floor heating as their choice of heating, especially in basement applications. A lot of the forced air heating system is out there because that's the old habits have died hard. People have done it because they've always done it. But radiant floor heating is obviously a great choice for homeowners. So kind of tell you about the history of step Warmfloor. And I know Stefan is probably listening today, Stefan and Monica, and I want to thank you for developing, I think, is one of the most energy efficient products in the world. The product is developed, again, by Stefan Ergens, and it's manufactured in St. Louis, Missouri since 1994. It's a wonderful plant. It's an interesting process in watching them manufacture the product. It was first developed in 1981 to heat automobile seats, where it first came on the market there in Europe, and brought over here to the United States, like I said, in 1994. It is one award-winning product. It has been installed in hundreds of thousands of square feet and lineal feet of elements sold throughout the world. And there's a electroplastics building there, and I'll touch on that in future webinars that we're going to study that building a little bit more in detail, give you some photos of what they've done. And you'll be amazed once you learn about the energy efficiency and the cost of operation it is to heat this building, and all with the step Warmfloor product. So why choose step Warmfloor? Again, we're going to come back to these bullets. It's energy efficiency. It's 2.5 times or 250% more efficient than than electric cable heating. And it's also been proven to be 2 times or 200% more efficient than that of hydronic radiant floor systems with hydronic boilers. What makes it unique with step Warmfloor 2 is the self-regulating nature of the product. It has the ability to reduce its heat output and thus save on energy efficiency more. It can be designed for total heating systems or for just supplemental. Many of the customers that we deal with add it for additional supplemental or floor warming because they already have a traditional forced air heating system that is not comfortable. So this is a way that we see systems be installed primarily in basements. And I must say that our floor warming applications for supplemental heating in a basement outweigh the number of jobs that we sell for tile bathroom applications. And the unique thing too with step Warmfloor is the multipled and magnitude really of the applications that are out there. From this photo, it shows you a add-on addition where the customer is going to put, I believe it was a wood floor covering over the top of it, and finish it off real nice. And this gentleman who put this in is extremely excited about how the system has been performing. And anywhere from concrete applications. Now this is a typical, and we're going to cover this in the application sections a great deal more, but this is going to be in concrete followed by a concrete pour of about 4 to 6 inches of concrete. Incidentally, this home, as we're going to learn at the next webinar, is going to be heating cheaper than a natural gas boiler, is what we've calculated. And I'm going to tease you a little bit with that and keep you on edge because we're going to show you how this has been modeled and what the product is being driven by solar applications. Also, it's done for commercial applications as well. Here it gives you just a little snippet of electroplastics building and step Warmfloor. Of course, they're the manufacturer, and you can see them rolling that out on an insulation barrier to prevent the downward heat loss. So just a great way to use it as a primary heat source other than the traditional perhaps hydronic tubing that may be installed. Also gives the application of tile. And tile seems to be what the normal applications that people think for because tile is inherently cold if you don't heat it. It doesn't matter if you're in probably South America or here in Minnesota. It's inherently cold. So step Warmfloor can easily be installed under those tile applications. Also carpet, and this is a basement application where it was a supplemental heat source because the primary heat source certainly wasn't comfortable for this customer. And basically they've taken this slab on grade walkout, insulated the subfloor, put the heating element on top, and this is how it turned out. So it's all radiant, ready to go for the homeowner to live and really occupy all of the square footage that they've heated. And be, you know, when you have a mortgage out there, it's nice to be comfortable in a house that you're paying low energy costs as well. So also staple up applications is going to be another one that helps drive revenue to your business because you can easily staple the product up or install it between the joists and insulate this underneath. And we're going to talk more about these applications, but they're out there. These jobs are out there everywhere where people have existing floors that are unfinished below that you can gain access and heat the space above. Finally, the unique thing too is hardwood floors. There's no other product that can work and be able to be nailed or stapled through as this gentleman's doing here, laying down a hardwood floor. And hardwood floors is the product is ideal application for it. So there's some of the reasons, multiple applications that we're going to use the product. So here's the step Warmfloor heating element, and of course I don't have it automated as much, but you can get the idea. It's a semiconductive plastic and basically a carbon embedded element into the polymer. And it's driven by low voltage power, either 24 volts AC or 24 volts DC power. That gives the ability of powering it off of low voltage transformers, or you can directly connect it from a solar or wind source. The typical width, 12 inches, although there is other dimensions available, but 12 inches is the typical element that we're going to be talking about today. There is applications where the 9-inch element may come into play for staple up. So kind of give you an idea, the element there has two bus braids that carry the low voltage power, and those are located and embedded into the plastic, and they run the whole lineal length of the heating element. And basically you would expose one end of the heating element to make your connections. Of course, we want to be careful and not compromise in these connections or that bus braid. What's very unique about the STEP Warmfloor product is that it's made up of 20% recycled materials. So all these little perforations that you see in there, and I'll kind of highlight there, that little perforation, that you can see them run up and down there. All those little tailings, if you will, are cut and slotted, and then all the tailings are regranulated and then put back into the heating element again. So that's a great way to, it gives you the flexibility of adhering thin set through and bonding to the floor, but what a unique way that the manufacturer is taking and regrinding that material and putting it right back into the product. Fabulous. So we look at the heating element, and there's basically, for purpose of this discussion in this series of webinars, there's going to be two elements that we're going to primarily talk about. I'm not going to get into the model numbers. I think you'll see them up here, but basically we're going to concentrate on the 7.8 watt per linear foot and 9 watt per linear foot max. But incidentally, if you look at this heating element and look at that chart to the text to the right, the 7.8 watt element cannot get above 82 degrees. It cannot physically impossible to get above 82 degrees, whereas the 9 watt element can get to 84 degrees. So we're going to use these two different elements in different applications. We may use the higher watt density element for tile applications, or we may specify that for a staple up application where we're trying to drive that heat through a subfloor and then through a tile floor. And the key to the performance, again, we're going to tease you on the next few webinars, is obviously insulating these systems to ensure that that heat goes in one direction towards your feet. So the product, you can nail or staple through the low voltage heating element without compromising. Again, inside the semiconductor plastic is carbon, so the nail just acts as a conductor to pass power through. So you can see on the outside edges, we want to be very careful when we're adhering this to a floor, a subfloor, wood subfloor, that we want to make sure that we do not nail to the outside edges. So be careful on how we're adhering this down. But how many products in the world do you know of that you can actually nail through the product without worried about compromising performance? I think that's, when I first learned about that product when we were showing to it years ago, I was just amazed. You know, I'm not no engineer, but I was just amazed at how you cannot compromise the heating performance. The unique thing about STEP Warmfloor 2 is that it's thin. And when you're talking to a tile contractor, thin is to win. And it's only 3/64 of an inch thick, or just under 1.2 millimeters thick. So it's close in thickness to, to kind of give you an idea of about 10 pieces of paper. So that's how nice and thin the product is. So applications-wise, it's nice to have the thin versus, you look at a typical cable heating system, you're at 1/8 inch in diameter, and some of them might be a slightly thinner. And then with hydronic tubing, you have typically about a 1/2 inch diameter of the hydronic piping. So STEP Warmfloor is thin, so it makes it nice, easier applications, especially under tile. So STEP Warmfloor, again, it's 2.5 times more efficient than cable, and some people kind of, well, how something electricity that's 100% efficient be 2.5 times more efficient? And the reason is how you move your heat. And we look at the slide here, and the reaction to temperature is that the element is closer to the surface than that of the depiction on the right that shows either cable and or hydronic. So it's going to be very quick to react to that temperature. And the temperature difference also is going to add in efficiency. The more delta T, or a change in temperature, we have between two surfaces, the more that heat can follow the cold. Well, if we have a temperature of 84 degrees and our surface is only 50 degrees below, that's a very small delta T versus that of you're showing hydronic on the right there, that you have a 70-degree difference. So the more temperature difference, the more ways that heat can go to cold. Also, the heat distribution of the element can cover 60% more surface area than that of cable. We got a 12-inch wide element versus a cable of shown on the right that is only going to cover about 2 to 3% of the area. So the heat distribution is, we're going to be able to do less watts per square foot to either provide supplemental heat or primary heat. The other things is the energy consumption. Step Warmfloor is 7.8 watts per linear foot, as opposed to cable systems that are going to run approximately 12 to 15 watts a square foot. Many of these are going to be found in the 12 watts per square foot. So just in energy alone, not even figuring all the other items up above this, you're at 40% energy savings just on pure wattage alone. So you add these up and you get that where the product is 2.5 times. And why? Well, because this guy said so. This is interesting that Francesco over there in Italy did a calculation. Now, for many of you, and I'm going to be one included, when I look at this, I'm just going, wow, that looks quite confusing. But, you know, for electrical engineer, I guess it makes quite good sense. But the bottom line is that Step Warmfloor has been proven to be 2.5 times more efficient just by sheer calculations. And kind of shows you here that Step Warmfloor to provide a total heating system really only needs around 4.5 watts per square foot. And if you look at the slides, it might be a little bit difficult for you guys to see on your computer, but electric cable system is going to need 2.5 times that, or 11.25 watts per square foot, to achieve the same amount. And that's going to be energy savings right there. So we look at self-regulating technology of the heating product, and that's another thing that makes the product so unique in comparison to other products out there. Think of the product as a floor sensor. And as it gets warmer, the temperature, as the surface temperature gets warmer, the element actually uses less energy. So you can see on the top here that the carbon element chains here are further apart, creating less resistance. As opposed to, as the element gets colder in temperature, you have these nanomaterials here creating more current paths, thus using more heat energy. So this product can use, just on this one example here, we could be using more energy less energy at this point. We're using more energy at this point. And the reason for it may be perhaps sun may be coming through the window and hitting the floor. The sun is contributing to free heat energy, to solar gain into the home, and thus reducing the energy consumption. So basically, why create heat if heat isn't needed? That's the beauty of what self-regulating technology that is built into the Step Warmfloor product. So self-regulating, kind of in a nutshell, it draws only the energy required to maintain the designed temperature. So remember, we cannot get above 82 degrees with a 7.8 watt heating element. So it's only going to draw the energy needed to increase this with or without a thermostat. Since the product is self-regulating, we don't necessarily need a thermostat. Again, I'm going to tease you a little bit about that on future controls. On our 4th webinar series, we're going to talk a little bit more about the wiring of these systems and then the use of controls, either thermostats or basically on-off switches. The element through self-regulation it reacts very quickly to external temperature changes. So as the temperature gets cooler outside, the element automatically is going to create more energy. Now a thermostat control can override that, but that shows you how unique that the product is with self-regulation. Another added benefit is that the product cannot overheat. It can be placed under area rugs, heavy furniture, without the risk of it overheating and failure. The product simply has never overheated. And if you look at that and you think of a radiant floor heating cables, and I'm not here to knock radiant cables, but they have their limitations. And if you think of areas in a bathroom, a lot of people will put area rugs down, especially outside their shower area, and that is an area that can be risk of overheating, whereas step warm floor will just self-regulate underneath that rug. So overheating is what is going to fail a cable system, and they really have only a lifespan to them that eventually, kind of like the light bulb, that it eventually will fail. And if we look at this slide here, and I kind of just want to give you an idea of heating, or using step warm floor, but you got to really, it's kind of apples and oranges when you want to compare it to cable. So it's kind of like comparing LED light bulbs to the old tungsten light bulb that was invented quite some time ago. But it's really energy efficiency and long lasting that I want to get by to you versus the light bulb. So the self-regulating heating element, step warm floor can do that. It can heat with self-regulation, where cables on spools or cable on mats do not have that unique feature built into them. So they are in risk of overheating. There's many more bullets on this, but I choose some of the ones obvious here, but there's so many that we'd be here for hours just talking about the many benefits in comparison to cable systems. Again, risk of overheating, the step warm floor product cannot overheat. It's physically impossible to overheat, versus that of the cable on the spool or cable on mats. They have that risk of overheating and failure. And in fact, we were just notified here about 2 weeks ago of a competitor's cable system that failed in a number of spots, and there was some legal action on it, and it cost the homeowner roughly $11,000 of equipment that may need to be replaced. So you get what you pay for. The step warm floor, loss of heating due to puncture, it's not going to happen. There is no filament in it like a light bulb. Remember, it's carbon that's embedded into the polymer. So nailing, stapling, screwing through the heating conductor, of course avoiding the outside bus braids, is not going to compromise the integrity or performance. Whereas the cable on spools or mats, they are going to fail eventually with nicking the wire. Now, it's important that if you are putting cable systems in, that you do not compromise the outer jacket of those heating systems. So you have, but you know, there's a risk involved, and for contractors, they may want systems. I know that they don't want callbacks on. They want to have a reliability too, and step warm floor is going to bring that. Also, the operating cost is what's going to really stand out with step warm floor in comparison to cable on spools. The most efficient systems are going to be step warm floor, and the less efficient, you know, as we covered earlier, is cables by about 2.5 times. So customers buy this product sheerly on benefits of energy efficiency, but also on the reliability. Them are the two driving factors that we find that customers want. They don't want to be the ones that are going to be worried about systems that are failing. Or you hear systems that are out there that, oh, I put that in my house and I shut it off because it's too expensive to run. And I've heard that countless number of times. So for us and for you as a contractor out there, you need to overcome the pricing objections from your customers by covering some of these bullet points with them definitely on the operating costs and on the reliability of the product. Now the step Warmfloor product, it's typically runs around $10 to $15 per square foot, and that includes all the heating elements, the transformer, thermostat, all the wires and connections and tape to do the job. And our typical cost that we see and calculated out is anywhere from 2 to 4 years, with the average being around 4 years of a payback. So that's a nice peace of mind that the system you'll have that'll continue to provide energy savings for many years to come after its initial return on investment. So that's people are going to be price conscious, of course, and they're going to they're going to have other products available through other vendors, particularly the Home Depots or your big box office or big box stores here in the U.S. And but again, you got to come back and sell them on the energy efficiency side of the product and the reliability with it. So we don't shy away. We've heard from people that the product is expensive, but I think it's all relative to you getting a product that's definitely reliable and energy efficient. So we look at cable systems, and what nice thing is, cable systems really kind of give you a limitation. And typically you'll find these systems under 200 square feet or less, and oftentimes, as mentioned before, you're going to see them installed under tile and in bathrooms, and that's really where they got their niche market. On the other side of the spectrum, you have hydronic and water tubing driven by a hydronic boiler, be it gas, be it electric, or oil. And those systems are going to be areas typically greater than 500 square feet. And they have their limitations, because you wouldn't certainly take a hydronic system and a boiler and try to make it fit into a 200 square foot or less bathroom. And often bathrooms can be no more of a footprint of maybe 50 to 60 square feet. So it's just not a good investment that way. Typically when boilers, especially a gas boiler, cost maybe $2,500. So when you look at that, it's nice that Step Warmfloor has the ability to really work in both of these applications, from small areas to very large areas. There's really no size of application that the product cannot meet. It can be worked as a supplemental heat source for the bathroom, or like I showed you on an earlier slide, or what we'll learn too in the upcoming webinar series, is it can be the primary heat source for large applications. So don't discard the product for your applications on commercial or residential as a primary heat source. It'll be a perfect solution that you can provide radiant floor heating and comfort for that customer. And perhaps, if they want air conditioning, it can be done by other means of either a high velocity or split air conditioning systems. So the element, too, being unique, can operate on, again, low voltage power. It can run off of AC and or DC power. So that gives it quite a flexibility. Now, you do not have to do anything with the same heating element that you'd get from us or any of the other distributors. Is that the product can work off of AC and disconnected from that AC power and work directly off of DC immediately. There's no nothing that needs to be done. So AC or DC power will heat the element up. And then for AC systems, it's connected to a safety low voltage transformer that basically will step that line voltage, 120, 240, or maybe 208 in other countries, and it'll step that voltage down to that safe operating voltage of 24 volts. And then furthermore, you can power it by solar or wind power, and that what makes it unique in that, right, is that directly, you can use a solar system to heat up the system. And the thing is with solar power is that we really don't have a battery method perfected. And think of this as an application for your clients that you can have the STEP Warmfloor system installed in concrete and then use the solar panels there to electrically charge the heating element. And the element, since it's embedded into that concrete, acts as the battery to store the energy that will then transfer that energy into, radiant floor heating for that home. So it's a great way to have a renewable source for your customer's application. So it's a nice free energy source that there's not too many other products out there in the world that can use that power directly from DC and generate heat. STEP Warmfloor is the safest. Now this might be a little bit more of a shock effect, but it isn't. What's unique about this, and it's kind of hard to see with the person in the this bathtub, but you might see by there's water in there, and you can see by the voltmeter, or in this case an amp meter there, that it is drawing energy as that person's standing on it. Now obviously we do not want you to try this at home with any other products, but we wanted to kind of give you, we wanted to show you the impression that this product is safe. And I was told that the person on this felt just a small tingle on there, but please do not try this at home, and certainly not with any other electrical heating equipment. But it just shows you how safe the product is with the low voltage power. Another thing that makes a product unique too is the STEP Warmfloor really provides a nice even heat distribution in comparison to that of cables and or water tubing. The slide on the left is going to show you a typical cable system, and you can see the heat being generated, and you can see the infrared camera, the FLIR camera there that is taking the shots of the cable. However, you can definitely see some spacing there where the heating element is not really spreading that heat evenly, thus creating some cold spots in the floor. In contrast to that, on the slide on the right is what you'll see is STEP Warmfloor, and there you have a nice, even, comfortable temperature, because what we don't want the customer to feel is cold spots. And this is going to provide a nice even temperature. The element's already 12 inches wide, so it's a nice way to spread out the heat. But what we're going to learn too in the future webinars on particularly the floor coverings and insulation segment is the importance of the spacing of the heating elements. And with different floor coverings, we're going to have the element spaced differently from tile than, let's say, from carpet. But that's one thing that we hear from customers a lot, is that they love the even heat distribution. It's something that they kind of, they don't notice a hot floor. It's more of a nice, gentle, warm, inviting, and enhanced comfort that that they put into their house. So we kind of, we have the unique advantage of being an electric utility here in Minnesota, and it gives us the ability to really study the product from a measurement base. We can calculate heat energy in a computer, and on a computer with the heat loss, but really it comes down to the measured heat energy. And kind of briefly tell you here, this project was located in Maple Lake, Minnesota, around 1,200 square feet, and it was an installation with a slab on grade with a carpet and carpet pad over the heating element. Just kind of give you an idea, the energy cost here that we're providing is around 10 cents a kilowatt hour. And so we sub-metered it and found out the energy side of this product for this 1,200 square feet was anywhere from $222. That was 2 years ago, and anybody that lives in the northern part of the United States knows it got a great deal colder. But look at last year's energy costs. That was a heating of 2011, 2012. That was $142.70 to heat that 1,200 square feet. So basically on a cost per square foot basis, you're looking at anywhere from 12 to 18 cents a square foot to operate their home. And so fantastic costs. And this is we've taken meter reads where we can download meter reads on a monthly basis, daily basis, and it kind of gives you the idea. You can certainly see on the graph how the energy changed throughout. It was a cooler March was cooler, but that was a billing period, so it actually was in February. But phenomenal costs in this. But what really made this satisfying for us on this case study was, the customer was concerned about their home. They weren't occupying their lower level like they should have because it just was not comfortable. So they chose Step Warmfloor to really maximize the use of the space to provide enhanced heating. But the customer was completely satisfied with the comfort and as well as the energy costs by the low operating costs. So there's another thing I need to add on that is that some people, they kind of ask them, well, how do you describe your radiant floor system? And they kind of go, well, geez, I don't know. I know it's a low voltage product. It's kind of difficult to describe how it works, but I know when I feel it. And when we got happy customers there with low energy costs and proven energy costs, it's exciting to see the lower costs with a product that is so unique in reliability. So we want to, the value to the architect and builder. There's the product is Greener Product certified, and I don't know too many products out there that are electrically driven that have this seal of approval. And so it will qualify for LEED credits, Leadership in Energy Efficiency and Design, and it also qualifies for NAHB credits. But just want to notify, I think we have one architect in attendance, or a couple of them in attendance, rather, and you can definitely go out to rcat.com and you can see the data that's out there that can help you model the Step Warmfloor product in your next application. So the value to the contractor, too, is really you're dealing with the most energy efficient product that you can provide to your customer. You can provide it that it's reliable, it's energy efficient, it'll have a return on investment for your customer, and it's safe. What's unique too for a contractor, think of it, is that there's no waste of the heating element. You're really, whatever you have left over with one job, you can definitely take that remaining element and bring it to your next job. It's kind of like for electrician, I would maybe it'd be similar to that of a wire nuts or wire. So it's never waste of the heating product. We offer a nice and discount structure to our contractors. We have a qualified contractors receive a discount off that list price. And we have available materials in stock at any time. So whatever job size it is, we're going to be able to meet your demands on that. The product too, homeowners are going to be concerned. How long has this been around? And people are amazed that it's been around for 30 years and 30 plus years. And but it has a 20-year warranty. But you really got to sell it on the fact that it is maintenance free. There is no hydronic pump to be worrying about, any worry about having any maintenance of anything with hydronic systems that can be somewhat problematic on a yearly basis, that you have to make sure that you're checking pressure. So Step Warmfloor is a way to provide a nice maintenance-free system for your customers. So our commitment to you is our discount structure. We do offer that, and we typically will offer the 20% discount to our contracting trade allies, and we'll provide your custom quotes and designs based on your applications. and some drawings that we can provide quick turnaround for you and your customers, so you can get that information back to them. I'm gonna tell you more about the labor portion, but once we get into the wiring inside and kind of give you ideas and of what you can expect for labor time to put that in. But also, we're going to be there for service beyond the sale for you. Being that our roots are with a electric utility that has ranked amongst the best in the nation in customer service, rest assured that we'll be there for you on service from the initial sale and beyond. And also, we carry a large inventory supply of products to meet really most applications. Now, if you've got an industrial warehouse, perhaps you might deplete our inventory, but we carry a large inventory supply so we can be ready to ship the product out at a moment's notice there to meet your needs, so your job doesn't get slowed down. So that concludes this portion of the features and benefits of the STEP Warmfloor. And of course, it's so much to cover, but want to hopefully you get a good understanding of how you can sell this to your customers. And I want to remind you too that we have these other webinars coming up here on November 13th, November 27th, and December 11th. And many of you have signed up for all 4 of them, but if you get a chance, let your colleagues know at work or some other people in the industry, and they can certainly welcome to attend the webinar. The next one we're going to have, November 13th, is going to touch on the application side of STEP Warmfloor. So I'm going to take this time. We're going to answer some questions that I've seen rolled in here, and we're going to take the remaining time, 10-15 minutes here, to go over these. I'm going to be apologize in advance if we can't cover all of these. But we want to thank you too, from all of us here at Heat My Floors, in attending our webinar. We look forward to serving your business and answering any questions you have. So we appreciate it. I know it takes a lot to, sitting at home, you got kids, you got to put to bed pretty soon, and you got other tasks that you're doing, but we certainly appreciate the time that you've taken here with us today. So getting back is that one of the questions here I got was, can STEP Warmfloor be used to heat the entire house? And the question is yes, and absolutely. In fact, this can be the primary heat source for heating the home. The main items that we would need to do, or you would need to do as well, is we need to get information so we can calculate a heat loss on the structure, so we can efficiently or effectively design a system that is going to meet the heating degree days of the location where you live. But without question, we have many of those houses up here, and I know the other distributors throughout the country have them as well. And one of them that we're following here is located in Minneapolis, where the product is a primary heat source, and we sub-metered that one, that system as well. And we're excited what it's going to show here by next spring, what the true energy costs are going to be to heat the house, and how it's going to beat the price of natural gas, even done so by electric. So yeah, used to heat an entire home without question. Do you insulate underneath the heating product? Always. We're always going to stress. There's never going to be a time that when you talk to our sales representatives that always are going to ask you, can you insulate underneath the system? Now, we're going to try to do it underneath concrete, and if it's on a concrete slab, we'd like to see insulation done on that. There's different insulation materials out there. We'll be covering some of that on the third webinar series, but there may be some times that you may not have to insulate the slab, and that would be perhaps on a below grade application where you're maybe it's a basement that's entirely below grade, that you really don't have a lot of heat loss to the outer edge. But when in doubt, and if you can always insulate, we're always going to recommend it. The other question was, is the system sold in kits? And We used to carry the kits quite some time ago, but the problem was with this is that the customers tended to get, an approximate, they get a kit size, and then some of the materials, particularly the heating element, would be too much element than they needed. So there's no reason that we can't sell it in kits in the future, but for the time being, we're going to design all these systems, custom design them for you and your customer to meet that application. When do I need a thermostat is a question that came up. I guess basically you want to use the thermostat where you want to control the temperature a great deal. Now, for my personal experience, I have 2 bathrooms that are on 1 transformer, and I elected not to use the thermostat. I let the elements self-regulate and let them heat. So once that temperatures come up to temp, it is using very, very little energy to maintain temperature. And a lot of people, like with cable systems, will always use thermostat because they're not self-regulating. They need a method of controlling their heat. And whereas step Warmfloor has the ability to self-regulate. So you'd use a thermostat basically maybe where you want to control temperatures. Let me be where forced air heating system is the primary heat source, and you'd use a thermostat maybe with a floor sensor to control the ambient and the floor temperature, particularly the floor temperature with a floor sensor independent from that of the forced air system. That way the systems don't fight and you can maintain comfort at your feet while perhaps the forced air heating is heating that same exact space. So thermostat's kind of up to you. We'll probably, we'll most likely design one for every application, but there's some applications that customers elect not to do so. Do people use this for a 3-season porch? And in fact, that's a great question, because up here in Minnesota, it was really 3 seasons converted over to 4 seasons. And I would say before the economic crisis that the recession hit, that we've seen a number of 4-season porches installed that we designed systems for. And without question, and I got in the application section, I'll be covering a 3-season converted to a 4-season application that was located on a lake, and they are extremely satisfied with the performance of the product. And so, and nice way to really maximize the heating space, and which tends to be an often difficult space to heat. And the final question is, can you supply product to Canadian customers? Now, we certainly can. There's also distributors located in Canada, north. We kind of look at it this way. This webinar here is, of course, is to benefit heatmyfloors.com, but we also feel that it's going to benefit the Step Warmfloor manufacturer, Electroplastics, but also the other distributors. So yeah, we can supply it, but if you have connections there with existing distributors up there in your part of the country, we certainly would direct you to them for any sales. But I think that's the end of our questions. I'm not sure, we're getting close to being right on time. Again, I want to appreciate the time that you've taken here. A lot of information thrown your way in basically around 55 minutes. And we just want to have you think about, selling the product onto your customers through really what I kind of call is the LESS principle. It's really reliability, it's energy efficiency, simplicity, and safety. Keep those things in mind when you're trying to portray the product onto your consumer. And you certainly will get this webinar, a copy of this webinar and the slides in a PDF format that we can send out to you. We won't send you the actual presentation, but it will be in a PDF slideshow. So we can send that to you in approximately a couple weeks. So you can take what you've learned here, and you'll have you have some information there that you can file and portray to your customer. Now, I invite you, if you got any questions and any applications, feel free to call us. You definitely see our 1-800 number there, and you're going to be seeing that on future emails that we're going to send you regarding the upcoming webinars, so we can keep you informed. So we look forward to seeing you. We thank you for your time. Hopefully, for those out of the country, that I didn't talk too fast, and I hope I came across that you could hear me and understand me clearly. And again, we thank you, and we look forward to talking with you here soon on November 13th. Thank you again, and good night.